Grab your coffee and a notebook because today we are diving all into your ideal client avatar. Hey friends, Jill here and welcome back to The Market Vibe. So happy to have you here. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications on our future videos. This week we've been talking all about your niche and ideal client when it comes to being a business owner. And if you didn't see this week's video earlier, Michael's video, I'm going to link it in a card here because he really goes into the mindset and the why of why you need a really specific niche and an ideal client, especially going into business in 2022. So if you haven't watched that, I'm gonna link it here and you should definitely go watch that first and then come back. Now that you're back, if you watched it or if you didn't, whatever, you live in your life, I am actually going to walk you through how you can set up your ideal client avatar. I'm gonna list some questions and the process that we use to really figure out who you're selling to, because it's really important to know who that person is and very specific things about them, not just so that you can actually sell to them, but so that you can actually build an audience. And it's going to be really important for you to do this in case you ever do ads in the future. So what I'm going to be going through here is definitely going to help you figure out who your ideal client is and really figure out that person. But it's also going to prep you if you ever do ads in the future. So definitely grab your notebook or get to your computer, open a Google Doc, because you're going to want to save this. And I recommend saving this video and coming back. It's always good to take a look at your ideal client avatar, usually once or twice a year. I personally like doing it at the end of the year just as a reflection, just to see like, okay, did we stay on track? But you can also do it earlier in the year as well, around June or something like that. So with that, grab a notebook, get your coffee, let's dive in and let's build your ideal client avatar. So the first thing I'm gonna have you do, and I know this sounds cheesy, but it's honestly a super powerful practice, is you're going to name your ideal client avatar. And I just realized this is really crazy. So a few years ago, Michael and I did this exercise. We really got very clear on who our ideal client is and we gave them a name, and we were like, okay, we have a guy and a girl and these are their names, and their names were back then Brian and Brianna, which is crazy because I also have a client who's named Brianna. So the power of the spoken word and the power of writing things down. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to give them a name. And the first thing that I always like to do is think about their demographics. Again, I'm going to be kind of mapping this out similar to if you were going to do ads in the future. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to know their age, their gender, their location, and their specific interests. Now, age and gender are very important because this is also going to help you kind of understand the mindset of where they're at right now. It's also going to really help you determine what social media platforms they're on. So that's another thing you're going to want to add as well. So age, gender, location, and interests. This is really important. If you've ever run ads before, they always ask you for interests or things like that. So you're going to want to list like what are some of the interests that they have. For example, if you had a skincare line, some of their interests might be in skincare, or maybe they're interested but they don't know how to get started, or they've used some skincare before but they're not really sure, what a skincare routine looks like, but they want to. Knowing their interests is really important. Same thing if you are a service-based provider and say you offer hair coloring services, you're a hairstylist. Their interests are going to be in things like beauty, hair care, balayage, things like that. So knowing their interests is going to be really important as well. This is also going to really help you list out their social platforms that they're most commonly using and basically their digital interests. What does their digital life look like? What social media platforms are they on? What apps are they using? Try and think about where they're hanging out online and what are they typically talking about. When you can nail that down, that makes it really easy. Well, not easy, but it makes it easier for you to really understand like where you're needing to be talking to them. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the demographics of this person that you are building as your ideal client avatar. The first thing I like to do, and Michael and I did this, is we gave them a name. And it's crazy because the power of the spoken word, we did this a couple years ago, and our main names were Brian and Brianna, and lo and behold, I have a client named Brianna. So power of the spoken word and setting goals, y'all, it's real. You're going to list out their age, gender, location, and interests. These are really important because it's really going to help you get into the mindset of where they're at. All of these really tie together because if you're targeting someone who is, 45, that's a woman and they live in the United States. Okay, great. That gives you a lot to work off of. But it's totally different if you're wanting to build an audience of somebody who is a Gen Z millennial woman with the interest of starting a business. So it's really important that you really map those out. You figure out what their interests are because that's also going to help you figure out what social media platforms they're hanging out on. And this is going to help you down the line for, if you decide to do ads, but mostly for your whole marketing strategy. Knowing where they are and where they're hanging out online and what their digital habits are is going to be really important for you because it's going to really help you map out your whole strategy and talk directly to them, but you need to be where they are. So you need to figure out where are they hanging out online. Once you've done that, we're going to get into some more specific stuff. So number one, and you've probably heard this, is what are their needs or their pain points? What are some problems that they're having right now that they can't figure out on their own? And what are the emotions that they're feeling? Are they feeling frustrated because they can't get their skin routine right? Are they feeling overwhelmed because there's so much to do in their business? What is the emotion that they're feeling? And then because of the pain point, that's really going to help you because marketing is emotional. It has to be emotional, especially when you don't know somebody and they're meeting you totally cold or they stumbled upon your ad or your social media or something like that. You have to make sure that you're communicating that correctly because it also shows too that you know what you're talking about. You've been there, you know what they're going through. Basically, this whole process is to help you communicate to them and say, I know you, I've been there, here's how I can help. So after you've figured out the pain points with the corresponding emotion, you're also going to figure out their desires and the corresponding emotion. So if they're having trouble with their skincare and they're feeling frustrated, the desire is they want clear skin so they can feel confident. Or they need help with all of the tasks in their business so they can move their business forward and focus on leads and sales. You have to know what they want so that you can sell it to them, if that makes sense. If you don't know what they want and you're just selling random stuff, they're gonna be like, nah, I don't think I really need that. What is something that they absolutely would die for and they need? Like it is a need, it is a desire. I need to have this outcome. I'm desperate for this outcome. That's going to really help you figure out how to talk to them and how to show them like, hey, I know that this is what you're wanting and here's how I can help. To add on to this, it is really important to know the transformation that you are going to offer them. So we're kind of talking about desires and transformation goes hand in hand. So what kind of transformation are they looking for? Are you going to help them lose weight? Are you going to help them with healthy skin? Are you going to help them get their schedule on track? You have to show the transformation that you are going to offer them because of the products or services that you have. That's really going to be the main selling point is people love to see that transformation. They love to see hope. So what is the transformation that you are promising and can deliver is another thing, making sure you can actually deliver on what you're saying. What is that transformation that they really, really desire? From there, we want to get into the mindset of the person that you're building and your ideal client. The first thing is the beliefs they have. So what are some beliefs that they might have? These could be truths, these could be lies, but it could be certain things like it's really hard to have clear skin if you've had acne before, or it's hard to clear up dark spots if you've had a lot of acne. These are also typically mental roadblocks as well. So why would they maybe not invest? It could be things like, I've tried it before, I worked with someone in your industry, it didn't work for me, I don't have time, I don't have the money. What are those limiting beliefs that they have that you can crush by showing like, hey, if you do XYZ, this is going to help you? Understanding that is really important. You have to show that you know what they're thinking. You've been there, you've got their back, you've been through that whole mind circle and you got out of it. And here's how you did it. There's two types of buyers when it comes to your ideal client. There's emotional and logical. We already covered emotional earlier, talking about the pain points and the desires and the transformation and the emotions associated that. That gets emotional buyers. They're like, yes, I need it right now, give it to me. Logical buyers take a little bit more time. They want to do a little bit more research, and typically a lot of them have some mental blocks. So that's what you're doing here. What are the mental blocks that they're having? And then what are the solutions to them? Or like, how can you combat them? How can you prove that, yes, I know this happened for you before here with this brand, but with my brand, it's different. It's gonna be like X, and you're gonna get this result because I have this process. That's really important as well, because it's just great to address limiting beliefs anyway before they can even say them, because as you're debunking all of these mental blocks, they're gonna be like, oh, well, okay, so I literally think that too, so this is the product that's gonna be a game changer for me. And I already touched on this a little bit, but also the results that you can provide. You have to make sure that if you are promising specific results, that you can actually deliver on them. If you don't, that's when trust is broken. But you really build trust by sharing and showing, hey, I can help you get X, or this product will help you achieve X. But if you don't, if you can't deliver on that, then that's gonna be a problem. And people aren't gonna trust you, they're gonna get angry, and then you've lost customers forever. So make sure that you can really deliver on these results. And we'll do a whole separate video about that, about nailing down your strategy and how you can teach somebody to do something that you've done, or promising a product's results. That's really important, but just making sure that you can deliver and that you can show proof that you can deliver. So testimonials, things like that are very, very important. The first thing you want to do is list 3 to 5 competitors in your niche. Who are they? What do they talk about? What is their content about? What's their marketing look like? And then what are people commenting and saying about their products or services? From there, you can kind of look at that and say, how are you different? And this is where your personal branding story comes into play, because this is where you're going to show how you're different, how you're the better option, how you're the one that they should go with. So really knowing and understanding your story is really important in your ideal client. So it's just knowing what are the things that they're going through. Have you gone through the same thing? How did you overcome? And how can they overcome as well? So weaving that in is going to be really important, and that's usually the last thing I like to do, is like looking at your competition, writing down how you're different and how you deliver is going to be such a game changer, because people are going to be like, oh, well, I really want to go with this brand, but your brand says that, you know, you've been there, you struggled with the acne, you struggled with it for years. So I'm going to really trust you because you know what I'm going through, you know how I feel, you know what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go with this one. A great example is the founder of IT Cosmetics, Jamie Kern-Lima. She had rosacea, and she created these products that covered it up without, you know, hurting or damaging your skin. People related to her so much because they're like, oh my gosh, I have dark spots, I have acne scarring, I have this and that on my face, and like, look at this product, she created it. That's really the power of knowing your ideal client, and then knowing your story and sharing like, hey, I went through this too, and here's the solution, and I want to give it to you because I want you to feel confident. I want you to have the skin that of your dreams, where you're glowing and you're just feeling confident every time you look in the mirror. So that's really important too. And I think it's important that you take extra time and really figure out like that differentiating factor that makes you different from your competition and relates to your ideal client. And that's it. So I really hope that this was helpful and this gave you some insight into how you can really figure out who your ideal client is, because this is going to help you build your audience. It's going to build your core foundational audience. You're going to know exactly what they're looking for and how you can help them and why you're different and why you're the better option. So if you've never done this before, definitely take some time, go back through this video, answer all of these questions, and it's really going to give you some great insights and maybe even some holes that you didn't even see in your marketing or social media before. But I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to always comment below, or you can come and hang out with us on Instagram at The Market Vibe or Michael and Jill. I hope this really helps you nail down who your ideal client is and gives you some clarity moving forward. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye, friends.